Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, of course, we got to talk about Bennedict Mathurin. And I think Mathurin's just been a guy who's been awesome for the Indiana Pacers. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on Mathurin. And for me, this is just a great, I think, opportunity for Bennedict. Obviously, we knew the situation here in Indianapolis for the 2025-26 season was going to be a gap year. But we need to understand exactly what we're looking at, and let's get to it. So let's frame this right. Nobody in this circle would have said that, oh, the Pacers were dark horse contenders. But I think we knew this was going to be some transitional year coming off the Eastern Conference Finals run and then the NBA Finals appearance in 2025. The Indiana Pacers were built to contend for a decade. The front office constructed a precise machine. Tyrese Haliburton as the transcendent playmaker, Pascal Siakam as his versatile two-way second star, and a deep bench of high-octane role players. The professional sports did what it does. It intervened with brutal efficiency. Tyrese Haliburton tore his Achilles in Game 7 of the Finals and didn't just sideline the Pacers' best player, it dismantled the entire team's central nervous system. Then Myles Turner, the Pacers' longtime defensive anchor, took his rim protection and floor spacing abilities to the Milwaukee Bucks unexpectedly in free agency. One summer stripped the Pacers of their offensive engine and their defensive safety net. So the 2025-26 campaign got forcibly rebranded. This isn't a championship pursuit anymore. It's an interregnum, a pause between reigns. It's not a traditional tank job. It's an aggressive stress test on the roster. And the main subject of this test or this video is going to be Bennedict Mathurin. And that's to me something that I find rather interesting when it came into something like this, because with the Pacers, they have themselves a player who is looking like he could be an all-star. And Mathurin's fourth season is a contract year after the Pacers decided not to extend his rookie deal. They've thrusted him into the role of primary perimeter threat, and his job, I think, has been done well. So today I'm going to break down that ascension, the friction between his play style and Rick Carlisle's system, and the high-stakes financial poker game of the pending restricted free agency. We're also dissecting how he fits with the roster to see what Haliburton's absence has reshaped the ecosystem. So there's some major questions still about his playmaking and his defensive consistency and his ability to flow within the offense, but I think he is a complex puzzle piece for the Pacers front office to solve. So to get a true read on Bennedict Mathurin's performance, you have to deconstruct the environment. Basketball is a game of interdependence. For 3 years, Mathurin operated in one of the league's most favorable contexts. Tyrese Haliburton's historic playmaking and deep-range distorted defenses, creating wide-open highways for drivers like Bennedict. Losing Haliburton created a playmaking void of historic proportions. He wasn't just a point guard, he was the system. He was able to manipulate just so well. His manipulation of second-level defenders allowed Mathurin to attack scrambling closeouts. Now, that advantage is gone. Defenses load up. They wall off the paint against Mathurin and Siakam. The Pacers' transition attack, once the deadliest in the league, has slowed to a crawl. Mathurin, who thrived as a lane filler in the open floor, now has to generate offense against set half-court defenses. This shift exposes his limitations as a processor. Where Haliburton solved defenses like a grandmaster, Mathurin too often tries to batter through them with brute force. Myles Turner's departure compounded everything. Turner is somewhat of a unicorn, an elite rim protector who shot 40% from 3. He dragged opposing centers out of the paint. His primary replacement, Isaiah Jackson, is a rim runner who lives in the dunker spot. That one change alters the entire geometry of the court for Mathurin. Now he's driving into a phone booth occupied by his own center and the opposing rim protector. The structural cramping defines why his efficiency seems to be struggling compared to other years. Mathurin's trajectory is defined by a tension between his physical tools and developing feel for the game. In year 4, the potential label is peeling off and we're seeing the player he is right now. His defining trait His defining trait is unshakable, almost irrational confidence. Coach Carlisle has said it himself, quote, "This is one of the most confident people I've ever met," end quote. In a game that I think you need confidence, it's huge that he has it. And in a gap year full of losses, that psychological resilience is an asset. He doesn't shrink, he keeps attacking. This microwave mentality lets him shoot out of a slump in a single quarter, but that same confidence fuels stubbornness. It leads him to challenge triple teams instead of making the simple pass. Offensively, he's a study in contrast. The downhill force that he brings is amazing. When he's going north to south, he's a force. He's a free throw rate machine, and he's got a good burst, a powerful frame to absorb contact. Right now, his ability to manufacture points at the line is the Pacers' most reliable offensive failsafe. And the scouting reports are right, he settles. He's an east-west ball handler who over-dribbles laterally, pulls up for contested mid-range jumpers instead of using his burst to get to the rim. He has a feel for that shot, but he doesn't hit them at an elite clip, and it's not efficient enough to make it worthwhile yet. And then it's the playmaking, which is the glaring hole. The snippets don't lie. He's not much of a playmaker. For a starting guard with his usage, 1.9 to 2.3 assists per game isn't enough. His passing rating has cratered. This is a processing issue, tunnel vision. Once he gets a head of steam, he locks onto the rim and misses open shooters. And then defensively, he's a paradox. He has the size and the athleticism to be a lockdown perimeter point of attack defender. However, that's like not always there. In isolation, he can wall off drivers, but his off-ball awareness and screen navigation are calamitous. I've seen scouts write that he's very possibly the worst screen navigator they've ever seen. He's a guy who gets hung up on every pick, forcing the entire defensive shell to compromise. He ball watches and he loses his man on back cuts. Coach Carlisle has said his defense is the key to his next leap, and we've seen moments of him tightening up, but not the night in, night out consistency a winning starter needs. Now, we all know Rick Carlisle's a hard guy to play for. So let's talk about that relationship between Mathurin and Coach Carlisle, because Carlisle is a system purist. He's going to be someone who wants you to play with his offense as it's predicated on flow, quick decisions, and ball movement. There's no such thing as low usage in his system. Mathurin, by contrast, is a ball stopper. Carlisle has made a fascinating pivot. He's leaning into a skid. He's given Mathurin an on-ball mandate, asking him to guard the ball more and make smart reads to relieve pressure on Andrew Nembhard. This development by immersion is causing high turnover games and stagnant possessions, but it's also forcing growth. The staff is demanding Mathurin to become a movement ball handler. They've gotten creative to help him. Assistant coach Jenny Busick installed the football play. The team lines up like wide receivers, runs crossing routes, and gets Mathurin the ball on the move. It eliminates the need for him to size up a defender and lets him attack a shifting defense instantly. Simplify the read, maximize the physical tool. The doghouse dynamic have also changed. In a normal year, Carlisle benches young players for mistakes. This season, with wins not the priority, Mathurin is playing through errors that would have earned him a did not play coach's decision in previous years. This extended leash is huge for him in his long-term growth and will allow them to properly evaluate him before they make a decision on restricted free agency. Every dribble Mathurin takes is under the shadow of the 2026 offseason. By not agreeing to a rookie extension, both sides have gambled. The Pacers have already committed massive money to Haliburton, Siakam, and Nembhard for 2026 to 27. And that puts the team near the luxury tax and the dangerous second apron. Mathurin's cap hold is significant, but his market value is the wild card. Look, if he demands a max extension, keeping him almost certainly plunges the Pacers into the tax. So I don't know, if they would even do that. I doubt it. So what's he worth? 22 plus per game score on decent efficiency. I know some people are going to be like, that's RJ Barrett or Tyler Hero type of contracts, which I think Tyler's original contract, because he'll probably have signed an extension or will sign an extension at some point, either with the Heat or to a team that he gets traded to. But a $25 million plus average annual value is what they'll say is what he's worth, and they'll cite scoring upside and age. I think the Pacers are going to look at it like this. And I like Mathurin, but when you have someone who's a negative or like not a plus defender, even though he has the physical tools to be a decent defender, a poor assist turnover ratio, team struggles with him as the primary option, I think that points to a sixth man valuation. I've always said that worst comes to worst, I think Mathurin is a perennial sixth man of the year candidate that's like going to be able to really have a career, being one of the best six mans across the league. And for me, that's like Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton money, like 18 to 20 million a year. So the real danger is the poison pill offer. And the weird thing is, what I mean by the poison pill is teams like Washington Wizards, Brooklyn Nets, and the Charlotte Hornets will have cap space, and they need some scoring. They could offer Mathurin a max contract just to force Indiana's hand. If the Pacers get a 4-year, $150 million offer sheet, they face a crisis. Match it, and you're locked into an expensive, flawed core. Let him walk, and you've failed at asset management. This threat fuels all the trade rumors. If the Pacers sense a max offer they won't match, they must trade him proactively or look to do like a sign-in trade. But yeah, I think with Pascal Siakam, he's their best player right now. And I know the fit with Bennedict Mathurin is a bit problematic because they both need the mid-range, and defenders sag off of Mathurin to double Siakam in the post. And Mathurin isn't consistent enough of a shooter to punish them. And they're an additive, not multiplication. So good in transition, but the half-court friction is palpable. And then Andrew Nembhard and him, it's kind of different because Nembhard wants to run a set. Mathurin waves him off to run ISO sometimes, and defensively Nembhard fights over screens, but Mathurin's poor navigation leaves Nembhard sometimes guarding two guys. I think Aaron Nesmith and him are perfect. He's able to shield Mathurin as a defender, and his movement shooting and spacing of the floor allows Mathurin to drive, and Nesmith never complains, he just defends. Jay Huff has been a revelation. He's a diet Myles Turner, shoots 40% from three, pulling the opposite center out of the lane. Mathurin's rim finishing rate skyrockets when Jay Huff's on the floor. They need to tether Mathurin and Jay Huff together at all times, because when you have Isaiah Jackson never leaves the paint. Mathurin drives into 2-on-1 every time, forced into tough floaters. It just clogs the toilet completely. Ben Shepherd's a connector, moves the ball, provides spacing, and keeps the offense from getting sticky. I think on the defensive side, Ben Shepherd and Mathurin, when they're on the floor together, it's pretty bad because they get bullied. While Jarris Walker's kind of been a disappointment, and they don't really work together. Jeremiah Robinson Earl and Obi Toppin, with Toppin hurt, it's been limited, but in transition, he and Mathurin are flyboys. They just kill it in the half court. They get crushed on the glass and on defense. And Jeremiah Robinson Earl kind of offers a similar thing with less athleticism. So yeah, I want to make sure people know that I like Bennedict Mathurin. I just also think there's things that need to be pointed out that he needs to work on. But hey, if he has games like last night, things look good for them.